When last we left our happy couple, Deputy Frank was making himself a pain in the ass, asking questions about where they were getting money and stuff, and apparently trying to get fingerprints on the sly. We now resume with entry number 68 by Tsu'na, storytellers. Husband has said he wants to see me fight in the cage, so I have set my next fight to be tomorrow. Sunday is quiet enough at the diner for both of us to be gone. Myra said there may be fewer people, so my part of the take may be less, but perhaps that means there will be less chance of bandits as well. I thought Amazon simply sold everything, but husband told me his specialty is books, that it has many books that can be read on the computer, and that they sell something called a tablet to read them on, which is like a large phone and a small computer. That the tablet can hold many books, which is good because Amazon has many books. In Tulsa, he showed me how to buy a prepaid Visa for buying things from Amazon. I think I may be able to buy many books, though Amazon also has some books for free. But even with books on a tablet, I still like the library. It is meant for books and for reading. It is quiet, there are some soft chairs, there are many shelves of books, and there are people that are interested in books. Being surrounded by books makes me think of them, makes me think of reading and thinking and learning. Word for feeling you get from a place. Ambience. Atmosphere. There are more children here on a Saturday than a weekday. They are a bit noisy when they are together waiting for a story, but they settle when the story begins. Some still call me the cat lady when speaking with each other. The ones who sometimes talk to me call me Ms. Tsu'na. The mothers still look a bit worried when the children talk to me. Do they think I would hurt the children? Or is it the tattoos and piercings the woman at the diner talked about? My earrings are not that different from those Mrs. Hobbs wears, though perhaps since my ears are longer, the earrings are more visible. The Emperor's new earrings were part of the invisibility glamour set, but I did not think to use them. Husband did. It was part of his every glamour plate. I understand it now, in Earth, having seen very few males with visible earrings, and those few were quite small. But my invisible earrings are in my glamour dresser back in Eorzea. We would need to find new ones here, as well as glamour prisms. Amazon has clear prisms. I am ordering some. Perhaps we can make glamour prisms from them. This is my first Amazon purchase. It is very easy. A little girl is standing at my table. Hello. Hi. You're Miss Tuna? Yes. Who are you? Katie. Hello, Katie. Did you come for story time? Yeah, but we missed it. Mom's car didn't work. That is sad. But there are many books here to read. Katie nodded. She looked at me. I smiled. I did not know what else to say to her. What's it like being a cat lady? Husband tells stories about me, about my cosmetic surgery, about my martial arts training, about my time as a military contractor. I do not always remember all the details he uses. There have not been many times that people have talked to me about being a cosplaying fangirl. Perhaps because of the time I ran out of the diner, and when they do, I have said I do not like to talk about it. But Katie did not ask me about being a cosplaying fangirl. She asked about me being a cat lady. I could answer that. Cat people like me are called Mikot. They come from a faraway place called Eorzea. I did not grow up with them. My parents died in a war. I grew up with a Here couple. Here is what humans are called in Eorzea. Why aren't they called humans? It is a different place, so they have different names for things. Mikota? Mikot. Yes. Are there a lot of Mikota in Eorzea? Yes. Some live in the forests of the Shroud, where they are hunters. Some are in the deserts of Garabania, where they are traders. Some are on the islands of Lanasia, where they work on ships with the pirates. Aren't pirates bad? These pirates were, but became good. Now they only rob ships from the Garlean Empire, who started the war my parents died in. Other children came near to listen. A little boy asked, "Do cat people act like cats?" We are not cats. We are people with long ears and tails, though some Mikots like to say meow. I think it is funny. Do you say meow? I do not say meow. They asked more questions. I told them more about Eorzea. I told them about the massive Rogadin, the tiny Lalafell, the rabbit-eared Vieira, the horned Ra, and the haughty Elizin. I told them about the flying plant people, the sylphs, and the tricks they like to play. I told them about the goblins and their herbal face masks. I told them about the Ixali, the sad and angry bird people who could not fly. When husband came to find me for dinner, I was talking about the dragons of Travania and their war with the people of Ishgard. Some of the mothers approached him looking concerned. I took a moment to drink some water so that I could hear them talk. Oh, yeah, sounds like she's talking about an online game we play, Final Fantasy XIV. But she talks like she actually believes it. Well, sure, she's role-playing. Best way to tell a story, makes it feel more real. Ever been to a Renfest? The women looked less worried as husband wrapped them in a blanket of reassuring words. I resumed speaking to the children, finishing what I was saying. My husband is here. We are going to go to dinner now. We can talk more when you see me again. Husband came over and the children turned to him. Have you been to Eorzea? Of course. That's where I met Miss Tsu'na. But she can tell you about Eorzea better than I can. Then would you like to hear about a time I was in Africa? He pulled up a chair and told a story about a tiger he encountered in a place called Africa. It was a little scary and had everyone, children and adults, listening silently. Then it somehow turned into a silly ghost story and everybody laughed. As we were heading out, Mrs. Hobbs spoke to husband. So were you really in Africa? He smiled. In a Dim Room by Edward Lord Dunsany. Mrs. Hobbs seemed delighted. I am a woman who likes books and I am married to a man who has read them. It felt good talking about home, even if people thought I was telling stories. Husband understood when I explained it over dinner. It actually creates context, fleshes out your character a bit. Just be sure to be non-Eorzean with the parents. I am a role player. Exactly. And if they ask about the orphan thing, you can say something like, I'm dead to my parents and they're dead to me. Which is partly true. But be careful about talking too much about fighting with the kids. They didn't grow up with war. What about the primals? He needed to think about that. The whole enthrallment thing might be too much for them. The idea that people's minds can be gone just like that, making them permanent slaves. Maybe you could say people were taken prisoner and you helped rescue them? I remembered people that had been enthralled by a Efreet being put to death in front of me because there was no other way. I remembered Ulun's mother, driven mad from enthrallment, thinking a stone was her child. I remembered the Serpent Reavers, former Lanasians all, enthralled by a Leviathan, who I killed in so many battles. Rescued them, of course. That is what I did. They're just kids. Even in this world, FF14 is rated for teenagers and up. I will try not to scare the children. Cool. And I'll try to keep the parents happy. We are storytellers. Some of the stories we tell are true. An interesting note with this entry, Jirani, who was from Kenya, read this and had to tell me there are no tigers in Africa. So Lord Dunsany, writing as a Brit about some Brits' experiences, must have set his story in India. So many years I've known that story that I told, didn't know that. And as far as I'm concerned, Steve still doesn't know that. Ignorant bastard, isn't he? Pausing for a tic tac. Entry number 69 by Steve, Bandits. We made our excuses at the diner and went to a rundown industrial-looking building in a place called Sperry so that I could see my magnificent Miko beat up people for fun and prizes. We went in separately, both so that I could put down a cash bet on her without raising eyebrows, and so that those bandits she'd mentioned wouldn't see me coming. I bet $50 on the first two fights, picking whichever guy looked smaller, which gave me better odds. Lost both times, but that was okay. I knew I'd make it up betting on my wife. The fighters had decidedly stupid names, which made Ket's meow look reasonable. They didn't have a visible gimmick like Tsu'na, so the name was just as outrageously inappropriate as could be. And yet there were a lot of video game references. Maybe this is just a video game generation. Bastard Chief wasn't too bad. Alan's Wake sounded more like a racehorse than a prizefighter. Stolid Snake actually made me smile. There was a break in the fighting after the second round. I leaned against the wall, watching the people taking in the atmosphere. It was a moment before I noticed Shoulder was standing next to me. Shoulder spoke first. Hi. Hey there. Here to see my lady fight? Yeah. Is that okay? It's what she's here for. Betting on her? I'd be a fool not to. I nodded thoughtfully. There will be fewer fools as time goes by. How's the shoulder? It's good. Real good. Clinic lady said there'd be some stiffness, but it's working great. And the other guy's wrists? Mark and Chester? Yeah, they're good too. So, mustache and choker. Or perhaps choker and mustache. How about the bartender? Oh, Pete's real good. He thought he lost an eye when that shot hit him in the face, but after you did whatever you did, he was fine. Keeps the shirt with the holes in it. I nodded. So, you an angel? Angel. Super strong? Wears white? Heals people? Ah, no, not an angel. Then how'd you fix us up like that? Classified. What, like government stuff? Can't really talk about it. Didn't know people could do that. Well, we can't talk about it. Huh. So how come you were looking for a fight club at Murray's? Don't you have secret government training facilities or whatever? We're not with the government at this point. Okay, but what'd you want us for? At that point, they announced Cat's Meow. Tuna came out wearing her overcoat and beret. I wondered if she needed a cape with a cat kissy cat face, or something. We ran around to place our bets. I didn't get too strong a reaction when I bet 500, but I suppose I might be remembered now. Tuna took off her hat and coat and got cheers from the crowd. Either she's now got a fan base here or she's just that hot. Because, After all, she is. She handed her clothes off to the guy at the gate and stepped into the cage in her sports bra and shorts. Her opponent for the evening went by Rap Mashup. He looked fast and dangerous, working through some quick jab warm-up routines while Tsu'na luxuriously stretched on the other side of the cage. The promoters must have told her to do that. It got more crowd reaction. The bell rang and the two opponents turned to face each other. Mr. Mashup danced in on classic boxer float like a butterfly stance. I expected Tsu'na to fall into Oppo Oppo, but she didn't. Her stance was more like a paladin, with her left arm up like a shield and her right fist ready to jab. That would not have come from the promoters. I wonder when she taught herself that. He floated, she prowled, they circled. Mr. Mashup came in with exploratory jabs, which she blocked with her arm. He moved in for a longer combo. She added her other arm to block with. He tried to punch around her shielding arms. She hunched her shoulders and took it. Finally, he tried to get more serious. He started a sequence of jabs with his left, trying to draw her arms off so he could throw a solid right. She ducked under the right fist, darted forward, put a shoulder to his ribs, wrapped her right arm around his chest, and heaved. Mr. Mashup went down hard onto his back on the floor with Tsu'na's arm on top of him. While he was trying to get his wind back, she locked his right arm and right leg. He kicked, he scrambled, he flailed at her with his left arm, but it was clear he wasn't going anywhere. The guy at the gate called it, and Tsu'na got up for a modest victory pose for the yelling crowd. My magnificent Miqo'te was magnificent, but admittedly Rap Mashup contributed to that by not being worthy of her effort. As we went to collect on our bets, I leaned in to talk quietly to Shoulder. Now, you see what she did there? You know how strong she is. Do you think she was really trying that hard? No? I mean, yeah, she probably could have got that guy down sooner. Right, but she might have hurt him if she did. We try not to hurt people unless they have it coming, and these guys don't. They're just in it for the show and the money, like she is. But it would be really easy to hurt them, you know? He nodded slowly. So, when you were at Murray's, you were looking for guys to fight and practice not hurting them? Exactly. Didn't do a good job. Well, we need practice. So really you want to learn how not to fight? I guess that's true. He looked thoughtful. Got a number? Why? You could ask me about my car's extended warranty? No, I just might know a guy. A guy? Yeah. Name a number? Sid. My lady's Tabitha. I gave him my Google Voice number. All right, I'll be in touch. We parted ways after getting our payouts. A couple guys eyed me over the size of mine. I wondered if I'd get some practice hurting people. In alignment with that thought, Tsu'na called my link pearl. Nice work tonight, my love. It was no more work than usual, but the bandits are back. Come in stealth with me? On my way. I found the changing area, spotted Tsu'na in the shadows, shifted to ninja, and joined her in stealth. I often hide my headgear, while Tsu'na tends to favor a bright Lily Corsage glamour, but for this occasion I went with full ninja mask. We slipped out of the changing area, and she pointed out men, one inside the building, one outside the door, and one at the building's corner. We went back inside. Tsu'na re-entered the changing area and emerged in Earth normal. I stood by the guy she'd indicated, watching him watch her going through the main room to an office where she'd get her pay. He was holding a phone to his ear. I heard him tell someone, "She's finally out." I snatched the phone, snapped it in half, dropped it in front of him, and walked toward the changing area. He was surprised enough that he didn't react before I got out of sight and re-stealthed. Back into the main room as inside guy ran into the changing area. Tsu'na came out of the office and headed for the door, plainly visible, while I followed unseen. Outside door guy saw her, said something on his phone, and moved to follow. I came up behind him, stomped on his calf, grabbed his phone and snapped it, and left him on the ground cradling his knee. Tsu'na headed toward the corner of the building. She stopped a bit short of it, took out her phone, and poked and peered at it as I went on past. Corner guy was there with a phone and also a gun. The first he saw of me was my masked face, but that was after my knee connected hard with his crotch. I grabbed both phone and gun from him as he doubled over. The phone I snapped, the gun I flung away after swatting him across the face with it. He was breathing when we left him. My wife shifted to ninja and joined me in stealth. She led the way through the parking lot, looking about until she spotted a man with a phone. He was looking annoyed, talking heatedly at the phone in short bursts. When we were close enough to hear him, he was saying, "Answer me! Damn it, someone answer me!" I stepped behind him, drew a dagger, and held it to his neck. I whispered, "They're all a little busy at the moment." He went still. His head lifted when Tsu'na shifted to Paladin and appeared in front of him, shield up, sword drawn. "What did I tell you about not fucking with me?" she asked quietly. He didn't respond. I wish I could have seen his face. Tsu'na grimaced at whatever she saw and raised the sword to shoulder height, the point at eye level with the guy. "What did I tell you about not fucking with me?" Her head bobbed slightly. I recognized inside guy's voice behind her. "Drop the sword, bitch." I guessed he just poked her in the back of the head with a gun. She had her black, bright, oily corsage glamour on. Little did he know he was pointing a gun at a level 80 augmented crypt lurker elbow offending, which would laugh off a bullet. If it could, laugh. Tsu'na spun quickly to her left. I heard a clang as her shield knocked the guy's gun aside. He stepped back and pointed it at her again. "Fire the gun, lose the hand," I hissed. He fired. She swung. He screamed. She turned back to my guy. Her sword had blood on it as she laid it on his shoulder so that his neck was between her blade and mine. Her face radiated anger. "This is your last chance to live. Do you understand me? You will not bother me a third time." He didn't answer. I could feel him shaking. Whatever happened in the previous encounter with my wife, it apparently hadn't gotten as real as this one did. Tsu'na withdrew her blade, stepped back, shifted to ninja, and stealthed, effectively vanishing right in front of the guy. I removed my dagger from his neck, shoved him hard toward inside guy, who was gripping a severed wrist and wailing, and stealthed as well, leaving the two of them alone. We headed away from them toward the far end of the lot. "Will that man live?" asked Tsu'na. "Probably, if they're not too stupid. There's doctors that can reattach severed parts. It's not magic, but it's not bad. They just have to explain what happened, and why the severed hand was holding a gun." "I thought I had made it clear to them the first time that I was dangerous. Why did they not learn?" "That's the difference between ignorance and stupidity. Stupid people can't learn." She pursed her lips as she looked back at the parking lot. "Are there that many stupid people in the world?" "Safe bet." "Will I be cutting off more hands?" "Wouldn't lose money on that. Not sure I'd even lose sleep." "Perhaps we should find a way to educate people." "We can brainstorm over dinner. What would you like?" "Giuseppe's Pizza in Sperry." "Where'd you hear about that?" "Myra. I asked her if she knew of a pizza better than Pizza Hut, and she said, 'Oh, honey,' and told me about Giuseppe's." I had to admit it was pretty good pizza. Almost, but not quite good enough to distract from chopping off someone's hand. Ah, HBGVCFTX. I can't even pronounce that one. Hey, buddy, I really love your stream, so I give you a follow. I'd love to be a friend and fan if you don't mind. Add me on Discord. Sub prize. Wow. I wonder how many of my followers, and yes, I have more than a few, are Discord spammers. Anyway, likely ban evaders to the same IP as a bot that got banned. Hello, Cherry. When did you arrive? I saw Christy was running a little long, assuming she usually stops at 11. Been lurking a bit, only half paying attention, though. You're playing a game with friends. Ah, odd for the win, I suppose. That's the something mask, soul mask. I saw the pop up. That's a multiplayer, co-op or versus? Well, moving onward. That was 69. Entry 70 by Tsu'na. Many people. Angel. A supernatural spiritual being who, according to various religions, is God's servant. Myra sent me an email asking me to call her. When I did, she asked me if I knew anything about an incident in the parking lot at the Fights in Sperry involving fighting and shooting. I said I may have been in the parking lot at the time, and I remember hearing a gunshot. Myra then explained some things to me that I did not completely know. That the fights were not an official venue, that officially they did not happen, and certainly that there was no gambling. That what happened in Sperry was considered a party. That fighting did sometimes happen there, as does happen at parties with drinking, but not official or regulated fights. And if anyone bets on them, it is not part of the party. She explained to me that the local police were aware that there was sometimes a party there, but had an understanding about its terms. Husband later said it meant she had bribed the police. But this meant any official report that talked about the fights at Sperry tended to be treated differently than other reports. She said that her men had heard a gunshot in the parking lot and had gone out to investigate. That they had found two men, one of whom had his hand cut off. The hand was nearby, still holding a gun which had been recently fired. The men had claimed Cat's Meow had attacked them with a sword and that they had shot in self-defense, which did not make sense since the gun had to have been fired before the hand had been cut off. It also did not make sense where the sword had come from, since people at the party only ever saw Cat's Meow in an overcoat and sports bra and shorts. She said the men were persuaded not to go to the police with their story since they would need to explain having shot at the woman, having approached the woman with guns at all, and having had guns at a party, which was illegal in Oklahoma. Plus, Myra had respect for women in general, and capable women in particular, and felt that men who assault women, especially with guns, especially in groups, deserve whatever happens to them. Husband shares his feeling, though for different reasons. No one shoots at my wife. So the men, along with the hand but without the gun, were sent to a nearby clinic, having been told to tell a story about how the hand had been cut off. They were also told that they were no longer welcome at any business or entertainment venue that Myra managed, and that the community would be warned about them. I said that there may have been two other injured men in the parking lot. Myra said she assumed they deserved their injuries too, but she said that it sounded like the Sperry party had gotten a bit dangerous, and that perhaps a proper woman like myself might want to avoid it for a while. Between my pay from the fight and husband's winning from his wager, I think we have enough money for now. But perhaps it is not too soon to start looking for other fights before, as husband had said, I may be told to lose. The clear prisms I ordered came today. They seem to be simple glass, so we should be able to write a recipe for them using silex. I was able to make a glamour prism using one of them and a steel ingot. That will give us more fashion options, especially as we make more everyday gear. I will clamor a beret to my headgear so it cannot be knocked off again. Husband is close to finishing his bicycle. I think the airships we built in Eorzea were less work, though we had designs for those ready for us. The chain has been the most difficult part. So many little pieces needing to be connected together, and only so many of them to make the chain the correct length. A second bicycle will be easier now that we've worked out so much, though I do not think I want to be a maker of bicycles. But do I know what I want to be? People in this world seem to think of themselves as one thing, like a librarian or an electrician or a bartender. In Eorzea I was many things as I wanted to be. I am many things here. I do not think I want to be one thing. Perhaps I can make bicycles without being a bicycle maker. Perhaps I can bake pretzels and pies without being a baker, though I do not know if I can bounce trunks without being a bouncer. Husband has many names for us. I asked him how he remembers the names he uses, and he showed me the doc file he made. I asked why he used so many names rather than simply one. He told me it was to avoid large patterns, that several people each doing one unusual thing was not as noticeable as two people doing several unusual things. No one need think that the Stan and Tina that made cornmeal were also the Saul and Tammy who hunted gators. But the names make me think I am many people rather than one person who does many things. I am Tsu'na, baker of pretzels and pies, maker of bicycles, builder of sheds, and bouncer of drunks. I am also Tina, maker of cornmeal. I am Tammy, eco-tourist and secret hunter of gators. I am Cat's Meow, arena fighter and scourge of bandits. I am Tanya, ruiner of striking dummies. And now I am apparently Tabitha, wife of an angel. Wikipedia says an angel is a supernatural spiritual being who works as God's servant. We did work for Heidelin in Eorzea, but I do not think we were or are supernatural spiritual beings. If Earth is a god, we have not met her yet and do not work for her. But the people of Murray's think husband is an angel, and therefore I am an angel's wife. Which of those is me? Are they all me? Which one is real? Am I real? Why do I keep asking that? Husband has said, "You're as real as I am." He has said it many times, yet he holds me so tightly sometimes as if he is afraid I would go away, though I sometimes hold him as tightly, and I am not sure why. And am I afraid he will go away, or that I would? Perhaps husband does not know whether he himself is real. But assuming we are real, we are people that do things. We are not one thing in this world any more than we were one thing in Eorzea. We were fishers and miners and weavers and armors and alchemists and cooks. We were warriors and archers and conjurers and samurai, and we are all of those things in this world. And we are lovers and eaters and readers and shoppers and explorers. And perhaps that is as real as we need to be. For a while at least, I am not Cat's Meow. We finally finished Leon and Corneline. paying Leon and Corneline, so I am not Tina. Hunting gators was fun, but it was a long trip, so for now I am not Tammy. We might never see Master Shen again, so perhaps I will never again be Tanya. I do not know when I might need to be Tabitha, but not today. Husband is too busy working on his bicycle to be an angel, unless making bicycles is a thing angels do. I am typing this in the library, so perhaps I will be a reader. The children have noticed me. I suppose I will be a storyteller. Hydration break. Entry 71 by Steve. No XP. I got a call this morning. Hey Sid, it's Scott. Scott who? Scott, from Murray's. You busted my shoulder? Shoulder, right. Sorry, I didn't get your name before. What's up? That guy I told you about? Thought he could help you with your fighting? He's agreed to come by. Oh, cool. Can you have him pick up a tire iron? I'll pay for it when we get together. Tire iron? You can't get one yourself? It's better if he brings it. Trust me. No idea what Scott from Murray's has to offer us. I suppose we can dislocate his shoulder again if he's wasting our time. With fights not happening, at least in Sperry, we should be looking for alternative sources of income. Not that we need that much in the way of money, but eventually we'll need some form of ID. My info sources on fake ID are mostly fiction and rumor, but I'm hearing 25K per person. We need to start saving up. Purveyors of identification might be receptive to payment in gold. It's relatively anonymous. We haven't found gold yet. Wikipedia doesn't list gold within 1,000 miles of us, with the strongest prospects being Nevada and the Carolinas. Some sites say there's gold in Oklahoma, but so little of it that you have to filter carefully while panning, lest you missed it. Gold can be found in Eorzea at certain times of the day in a cavern that leads between sparse woodland and an area called the Burning Wall. It's a deep oasis with waterfalls and a pool at the bottom. It has blue glowing vegetation, big yellow glowing crystals, snurbles, fluffy, downy, bad-tempered bird-like things the size of chickens, and mirrordites, spiky, even worse-tempered bird-like things the size of men. I don't know of any place like that, but I'm still researching. Silver, on the other hand, is found in Eorzea in a wooded rocky pass near a stream outside of Buskerud Struthers, a frontier town on the frontier of another frontier town called Quarrymill. That sounds enough like the Ozarks that we should plan a camping trip there to see before it gets too cold. But silver is kind of unwieldy. At $21 an ounce, it's worth more than 100 times what copper's going for, but we're still talking pounds of the stuff for any real value. The aforementioned identity purveyors might balk at us dumping 150 pounds of silver on their desk. But as a backup source of cash, we might be able to liquidate a few $100s worth a week without getting too much attention. There's also the possibility of actual work. Official jobs are out of the question until we have some sort of tax ID, but people here have apparently gotten used to the idea of us doing odd things, so they're starting to approach us about odd jobs. The shed turns out to be a better resume than the tables. I've been asked to help do some repairs and light construction. I'm a day laborer they don't have to go find on the street. Tsu'na's glamour prisms will be handy for that. Not that our crafting gear looks ugly or anything, and in fact shows off my wife's figure nicely. but it does look a little Dickensy. Now that we can clamber to off-the-rack tees and painter's pants and maybe blend in. But if we can't find or make a glamour dresser, we'll be going through a hell of a lot of prisms. So, Sunday night. No one died. The guy who lost his hand could have bled out, but Tsu'na said Myra said he got to a clinic, so no one died. No XP. No Gil. Would have been easy. Dagger to the gut. Throat slit. Head chopped off. Neck snapped. Could have dropped inside guy in the changing room, and there wouldn't even be a chopped off hand to worry about. Just a body Myra would have to deal with. We could solve a lot of problems with force and skill. Maybe create more, but we could then solve those too. Just like we did at home. In Eorzea. With NPCs. Just like in a video game. I think I'll finish up the bicycle. Oh, press and hold escape. I thought it was just press escape. So press and hold escape takes me out of full screen. Okay. Good to know. I mean, quicker to know. Finishing up the evening with this entry. It's just a good stopping point considering what comes next. Entry number 72 by Tsu'na. Mummery. Porn definition. Material that depicts nudity or sexual acts for the purpose of sexual stimulation. WWE. Entertainment-based performance theater. Choreography. The sequence of steps and movements in dance or figure skating, especially in a ballet or other staged dance. When husband told me we should return to Murray's, I did not understand why, as they had attacked us twice, but he seemed to think this time would be different. We were certainly able to handle whatever they have shown to have for attacking us, so it was not really a risk. But needing to defend ourselves, plus the bus ride to Tulsa, was effort for a possible chat and a possible drink. And I did not like that Pepsi. Try Sierra Mist. Will I be Tanya today? No, this time you're Tabitha. I liked being Tanya. You like beating up the Bob. It was rather satisfying, but I also liked the name. It sounds playful. Perhaps we can use it again? Sure, we'll see what comes up. I read more about angels. There are many writings about them. The scholars talk about different types of angels, their duties, their powers, and their names. Most people's views of them seem to be that they are good and kind, that they wear white and have wings, and that they have a glowy circle over their heads. That they are powerful and can do miracles. That they are servants of God and do God's will, and that one is more likely to see an angel than to see God. Yet there are other stories about them. A story called Supernatural describes angels as assholes that are more interested in what they want or what they think God wants than what people want or need. Many stories talk about sex with angels. Many other stories talk about Lucifer, a fallen angel. More stories talk about sex with Lucifer. I think the men at Murray's were seeing husband's strength, his white healer gear, and his healing miracles. If I should need to heal them myself, I should perhaps wear white healer gear so that the wife of an angel is an angel herself. Or perhaps they can see me in my black ninja gear. Perhaps I will be a demon that an angel married and has sex with. Murray's had not changed. The pit changes. It has different people in it. Murray's had the same three people at the same time and the same bartender. It is even more like the Coffer and Coffin with his NPCs. Do other people not go to Murray's? I do not know yet what Sierra Mist is because the bar did not have it. Husband instead got the bartender to give him soda water. It took some time and words to get the bartender to understand. Perhaps the bartender is not very smart. Soda water is interesting. It has texture instead of flavor. We sat down at the table with the three men we had fought. Husband nodded to the one who had tried to hold me. Scott. He looked to the other two. Guys. The men there looked at me. The one without a mustache who was not Scott tried to smile. I nodded back. I did not yet feel friendly with these people. We're just waiting on Ted, said Scott. Husband nodded. We were all quiet until the not mustache man tried to be friendly with me. So, you're a prize fighter? I nodded. Win a lot of fights? I win all my fights. Yeah, I bet. Scott says you got ears? Yes, I see you do too. He did not have much more to say after that. We waited a short time before another man came in, heavier than the men at the table, but not as fat as the bartender. Scott waved to him, and he came and pulled a chair to the table. Hey, Ted, these are the people I told you about, Sid and Tabitha. Nice to meet you. Ted looked at husband. Scott says you're looking for fighting tips? Husband smiled and inclined his head toward me. I mean, we both are, but she's the pro these days. So, you're a fighter? Yeah, I was on kind of a pro circuit for a while. I went by Fleshly Crusher. I'm sorry, but that totally sounds like a porn name. What is porn, husband? The table grew quiet. After a moment, husband said, we'll talk about it later. I brought out my phone. Husband closed his eyes. No, don't Google it. No one at the table was looking at me. The men had strange expressions. I put my phone away. Husband cleared his throat and smiled. So, pro circuit, you say? Yeah, World Power Sports. Kind of like WWE, but not as syndicated. We went straight to stream. I turned to husband. May I Google WWE? Yes, you can. It's a TV show about wrestling. There's some story to it, too. Thing about that show, though, is that it's more performance and entertainment than real fighting. They call it scripted. The people work out ahead of time who's going to win a fight. Husband looked at Ted. That what your circuit was like? Pretty much, yeah. Like you said, we worked it all out ahead of time. Whatever got us the most views. I did not understand this. Why would people bet on a fight if it was scripted? They wouldn't, said Ted. At least I don't think they did. We were just doing it for the subscribers. So the fighting was mummery? Theater, yeah, said husband. Choreography. I think Wikipedia calls it entertainment-based performance theater or something like that. And how is this useful to us? Well, I think where Scott's coming from is that if we're trying not to hurt people when fighting, we should learn about fake fighting. Scott nodded. Ted said, I mean, it's not fake. You still have to be in shape. There's real physical stuff going on. It's just coordinated. So, like, what kind of fighting experience do you guys have? Husband answered, combat deployment. As in active duty? Very much so. Okay, yeah, I agree with your wife. You know how to fight. What do you need me for? Well, that's a different kind of fighting, or at least I assume it is. We get in a cage, we're probably not going to try to kill people. Out in the field, we kind of are. You looking to fix fights? No, we just. Look, did you bring the tire I asked for? Yeah. Cool. How much was it? 75. Husband hesitated when reaching for his money, but still brought it out and paid Ted. Ted handed husband a metal bar with what looked like a fork at one end and a cup at the other. Husband held the bar with one hand at each end. He took a deep breath, hunched his shoulders, and slowly bent the bar into an angle. Then he handed it to me. Careful it doesn't snap. The numbers in husband's app say I am stronger than any here on earth. I have lifted men with one hand, but I had not tried bending metal bars before then. I held the bar in my hands and pushed hard, then harder, and it started to bend. I think I could have pushed harder still, but that might have snapped it as husband had warned. When I had bent the bar fully double, I handed it back to husband, who peered at it. You sure this was a $75 tire iron? Because this doesn't feel like a $75 tire iron. Ted looked nervous as he laughed. Now that I think about it, I might have gotten a $30 tire iron. He pulled out his money. Husband waved a hand. No, it's okay. Call it a delivery fee. He handed the bent bar to Ted. Anyway, this is what I'm worried about. We want to fight people and not do this to them. Ted took the bar. He stared at it. All the men at the table stared at it. He held it with both hands and tried to spread it. It did not spread. We're not looking to fix fights. We don't have to. We're pretty sure we're going to win. We just don't want to hurt people too badly when we do. In fact, we don't want it to look too easy for us. Ted was still staring at the bar. He finally said, Okay, the stuff we do in the ring is coordinated, but we work together at doing it. But if you're this strong, you can probably do stuff without the other guy's cooperation. Husband nodded. As Ted went on to talk about holds and throws, I remembered a video husband showed me called The Princess Bride. I understood many of the jokes, though the sword fighting was simply silly. There was a moment in the video when the hero was fighting what I thought was a Rogadin, but husband insisted was a very large hero named Andre the Giant. The hero threw himself at the giant a few times, accomplishing nothing, and finally said, Look, are you just fiddling around with me or what? The giant answered, I just want you to feel you're doing well. I am not taller than the men I have fought, but to them I could be a giant. They cannot hurt me. They cannot throw me if I do not let them. But I should not break them as easily as I could have broken the tire iron. And I need to let them know and I need to let them feel they are doing well, because no one will want to fight a giant, even a short giant. Ted finished with saying, Okay, if we're going to do this, we need a place to practice. Husband asked, Does it need to be a ring? Or a format's enough? Should be okay. You got a place in mind? Yeah, there's a dojo I know of that I bet we could use. He turned to the mustached man with a smile. It's run by the guy who sent us here the first time. I really want to meet that guy. Kind of thought you might. So, Ted, I hope it goes without saying that we want to keep quiet about this. Word gets out that my wife is stronger than she looks, she might not be able to find any more fights. Bye-bye career. Sure, I get it. Lots of pros have secrets. I won't be outing her. We parted from the men at Murray's, found an alley, and returned to Wyatt. Before we went to work at the diner, we stopped at the house. Husband led me to the bedroom and closed the door. He got on his computer. He showed me what porn was. Why do people look at this? To make them think about sex. Do you look at this to think about sex? I look at you to think about sex. You look at me a lot. That I do. Why did you not want me to Google it? Because if you Google porn, you're much more likely to get porn than a definition of porn. And I didn't want that to happen at Murray's. Perhaps I could have Googled porn definition. Perhaps you could have. I was just embarrassed at the time. I nodded. You are looking at me now. That I am.